There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Oh, great. You got a doorbell camera. Now you got a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
No.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Get out of my house!
Ooh, Mom's jewelry. There goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slowens, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, a free doorbell camera.
Free?
One that'll actually work for you. It's not total security unless it's the Sloman Shield. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
It is Tuesday evening, and NXT is still on the air, but decided to go on now. Braun Breaker just came out, laid out Robert Roode, and now he's confronted Dolph Ziggler, so that will probably be your stand and deliver pay-per-view. I'm Sean Stanley. It's a Squared Circle Digest. And NXT tonight, not too bad. Not too bad. The only question I have is, for a developmental territory, you've got Dolph Ziggler as your champion. Mandy Rose, you moved down. She's your women's champion. You had The Miz on today. You got Robert Roode. You brought in Dominic and Rey Mysterio. So how much of a developmental is this when you have so much talent from your main roster being showcased on the show? You had a pretty good Tommaso Ciampa came out and cut a pretty good promo. Looks like he'll be going to stand deliver to take on Tommy. I forgot his name now. Looks like it's going to be his debut match is actually going to be, well, actually his second or third match will be with Ciampa at NXT Stand and Deliver. I did like the vignettes with Cora Jade. I thought they were doing very well with them. I didn't like the way they ended them. Frankie Fresco, what's up, my man? Cora Jade outsmarted Toxic Attraction throughout the evening, and then finally, when it was her chance to get the big one over on Mandy Rose outsmarts her, and then they beat her down and they put the paint on her back and things like that. I don't know. I think Cora Jade, why not just let her outsmart them all this week and let Toxic Attraction get their heat next week? Why does it have to be Smosh there at the end? We'll see where they go from there. Dexter Lumis returned tonight with Indy Hartwell. Thought that match was okay, but you can tell they're thinking everything through. Everything's kind of in slow motion when they run to hit the ropes, when they run to do any moves. Everything's kind of very robotic. You see them reaching for the rope, thinking about it as they have, everything is them thinking about it. But again, that's what this is. This is NXT. It's developmental, but also I think they need to get them probably further along before they throw them in the ring and do this on TV. I don't like the whole, you got so many guys that are not making it on TV, and I understand you want to give TV time to the ones you feel deserve it. And I think Indy Hartwell and Persia do deserve it, but I thought that match was very, very slow at times for when they were thinking through the moves, when they were trying to think through the steps of the match and things like that. So that was one of the things I thought could use some work. Looking back through my notes here, LA Knight got the chance to take on Dolph Ziggler. LA Knight, again, another name. I know he's in NXT, but he's a known commodity. So I don't know, as far as how much talent they're putting out here. Just like Santos Escobar, Cameron Grimes, all of those did their time on the indies. I went to look back, and you know what? I'm going to pose this question to everybody listening, everybody watching on the podcast. If you're listening later, you can hit me at Sean_Stanley11 on Twitter, Instagram. You can also hit Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com or right here on the chat. WWE homegrown superstar since your Cena's, Orton's, Batista's, Lesnar's. Who is their guy that was not an indies star or made their name on the indies before they came to WWE, the NXT brand? Who was the last person that came through? As far as, you might even have to go back as far as FCW, because I was trying to sit here and think about it today, and trying to think of who's that guy. No, Roman. I mean, he had some independent background, you know what? I mean, I guess you could technically say he's WWE because he cut some teeth, but I know he did do some, indies and things like that. But but the Miz, but that was a while ago, Frankie. And no, Miz does qualify, but when you look at him, he had a name coming in right from the real world and or what, not real world. What was he on? The hell was he on? Was it Real World? Whatever. One of those shows. He was on those shows, on the reality shows. So he had a name. You know what? Big E's a good one. Fence Post. Big E is a good one because he was actually a football player and a wrestler from the University of Iowa, and then he went there. You know what? That might be that is probably a really good one. Yeah, the Real World and the Challenge. Okay, yeah. So he was on the Challenge. Yeah, my wife listens to that all the time, or watches that all the time. Oh, I get so tired of that show. So I guess, you know what? I mean, I guess you want to look at Big E, but here recently, and maybe that's why Vince was so adamant about, putting this NIL, the next in line, back together, because everybody that was coming up recently is mostly independent or already guys that have already made a name for themselves. When you look back here recently, who has gone up? Maybe if you look between Big E, Roman time frame, Cesaro had a name on the indies. Seth Rollins, name on the indies. Kevin Owens, name on the indies. Sami Zayn, name on the indies. Pete Dunne, name on the indies. Sheamus worked the indies in UK and everything over there. So I mean, looking at it, maybe Big E might have been the last big one, and I might be missing somebody right in front of me right now. But I'm just I was going back to look at it, and I was just like, it's been quite a while because Big E's been on the main roster for a while. If you look back at it now, I mean, it's been a minute since he's been on there. And then when you look back, who came up carrying Cross, Keith Lee, they're gone now. When you look at some of the guys, even damn, I want to call him Adam Scherr because that's what I know him so much now. But I mean, he was kind of, I guess, grown through the WWE system. He was a strong man, and now I know him only as Adam Scherr. Wow, it's hilarious. Forget their names when they leave WWE so quickly. Wow, that is hilarious. But I mean, when you look at those guys, Adam Scherr made his name. I guess he was actually one that was brought up through the WWE system. But recently, and maybe that's why Vince got such the hard on to get rid of the indie guys, because you're not making. WWE used to be so good on making stars, making superstars. Rock, Stone Cold. And I know Stone Cold was at other places, but he did not become Stone Cold Steve Austin until he was in WWE and got that machine behind him, and he boosted up, to where he became Shawn Michaels. If you look at Razor Ramon, speaking of Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, they started in, WWE. They built them up, and then they were able to go and branch out to WCW. That's why AEW is better. They actually brought up some of these guys. You mean some of the guys that are on their roster, right? Not the guys that we're discussing. I'm guessing, right, Frankie? You mean the guys on their roster? But also remember, man, those guys they busted their asses on the indie scenes. A lot of those guys, they were working your Ring of Honors, your MLWs, your CZWs. They were working other shows too. So it's not like AEW. AEW gave them a platform to be on TV, but AEW hasn't. I mean, yes, they've grown into what they are now, maybe with the AEW behind them. But I mean, MJF would be MJF wherever he's at. Wardlow's going to be Wardlow wherever he's at. I mean, those guys there. Orange Cassidy is going to be Orange Cassidy. I just think the guys that have the it in AEW would have the it in wherever they were at. In a way, has AEW given them a little bit? Actually, there was something that Chavo Guerrero put out, and I'm not sure. I saw it today on Instagram, and I'm not sure how old this quote actually was from, but I saw it, and I was like, I need to save this real quick because I want to be able to read it here for the show, because he was talking about WWE and AEW, and he was comparing them. And he said, in WWE, they micromanage you at times. And in AEW, they didn't do enough, I felt. They really need to help a lot of the young guys just put things in the right spots. These guys are such talented wrestlers and such talented athletes, but sometimes it's a spot fest. And that's when he's referring to AEW. So he says in WWE, they micromanage you to the T. And in AEW, they're not really giving them enough. Maybe they're giving them too much creative freedom to go out there and do what they want, which you see at times, because again, the one thing that I thought was bad about the pay-per-view was the length. Every match does not have to be 30 to 45 minutes. Your ladder match, yeah, you need to have some time there and things like that. But I mean, some of those matches go a little bit too long. And look, I mean, yeah, the live audience is there for it, and I get it. But after a while, 5 hours becomes way too long. And that's why a couple of those matches got poo-pooed on. When you looked at it, the Tay Conti match with Jade, and even after the dog collar match, the Britt Baker match, and Thunder Rosa. The crowd can get worn out when you have, especially when it's 5 hours of nonstop action like they had there. Maybe bring it together quicker, tighter. Steve says, I hate to keep bashing wrestling because I know you love it, but there's no comparison to what wrestling used to be and what is today. I'm trying to get back into it, but sometimes it's tough. No, I mean, it is, Steve. They did pull it off. Okay, good. Last time I saw they were up by 6 AKW beats. He said, yo, Sean, Heat win. So good deal there. I know they were up by 6. Steve, I don't think it's bashing, man. Everybody has their way of what they love and what they like about wrestling. That's why I'd say when people come to me like, oh, Orange Cassidy is my favorite wrestler, I'm like, all right, good deal. Hey, that's your cup of tea. That's who you like, and things like that. I don't look at it and sit there and say, now, do I like everything about today's wrestling? No, but also it's evolved. It's become the run and shoot offense, what football and the passing game and everything else. The run the ball, long drawn out storytelling in wrestling gone a little bit to the wayside. Now it's the pass happy offense and it's the spots and it's the flips and it's everything else. And it sometimes, it makes sense to do some of that stuff, but I think a lot of times I think it wears you out. It wears you out as a fan watching it. Sometimes it's just like, I like the roller coaster rides. I like going up and then bring me back down to bring me back up to bring me back down to bring me back up. I like that roller coaster. I don't like being up, 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 match over, now crash. By then, you're just worn out, man. You are so worn out. Frankie Fresco, I think AEW needs to improve their women's division. Baker, Jay, and Amazing. But after that, they really only have Thunder Rosa, maybe Conte. And Amazing. Which one? And Amazing. Baker, Jay, and Amazing. But after that, they really have Thunder Rosa, maybe Conti. I mean, it's improved. I mean, it's better than what it was. I don't know. I don't know what they're missing in the women's division. It was for a while. It was fire. It was on fire for a while, and then it just kind of has dropped as of late. As of late, I would say probably in the last month, and possibly it's dropped a little bit more than it probably should have. It seems the matches are more choreography than anything. You do your moves, then I'll do mine. I mean, ultimately, yeah. I mean but that's what it was back then. The thing was, you let everything register with the crowd. I remember, again, when I was going through the training and everything, it was make things make sense. Don't body slam somebody to pick them right back up. That doesn't make sense. Why am I throwing you down to pick you right back up? Why don't I just keep you up? Make things make sense. And I think that's, and again, it is the old school mentality of thinking about it, but also it's the ultimate, quote unquote thing in professional wrestling is to get your hand raised, to get the victory. To get the victory, you either have to make them tap out or pin their shoulders 1, 2, 3. Ultimately, again, if you want to make it simplicity as simple as possible, the object is to get the pin, the count out, whatever you want to do. But to get your hand raised, more than likely, you have to either have them tap out or submit. In order to do that, you need to get them down and you need to wear them out. So that's some of the basic things that are modern wrestling is missing, larger than life characters. But see, AKW, this is where I agree and don't agree with what Vince McMahon says all the time. There's a reason Brock Lesnar is your champion in WWE. There's a reason Roman Reigns is your champion in WWE. There's a reason that they bring back Goldberg every time to win the title, to flip it to somebody else, because Vince believes in the larger than life characters. He believes that they sell the money. They sell the tickets. Larger than life puts asses in the seats. That's his whole philosophy behind the whole thing. And unfortunately, most of the data backs that up. To me, AEW has a better product, but there's more eyes on WWE. Where are the larger guys? WWE. When when Eddie Guerrero, rest in peace, when he won the belt, the reason it was taken off of him so quickly was because the live house shows started dropping down when he became the champion. Now, was that because, Lesnar took some time off? Was that, again, things happen, but ultimately it always ends up working out to where big guys bring in the asses to the seats. Unfortunately, or however you want to look at it. But the larger than life characters, and Vince might be onto something there, much as crazy as he is and everything else. But man, when you look at it, Raw last night did a 1.7. And I know everybody's like, oh, that's not that good. But last AEW was 980. It's 800,000 household difference between AEW and Raw. And that's the two that I compare. Because again, they're both on cable TV. You can't throw Fox in there because anybody with TV pretty much can get Fox. Not sure why Lana has not made her way to AEW. I think Lana's doing some acting. Actually, she's doing some shows and some other things. She's being very successful. Ultimately, maybe when they bring Miro back, he just signed a 4-year extension. So maybe Lana comes back when they bring him back. They repackage him, bring Lana back. I think she's done filming now, I believe. So it will be interesting. Raw last night was not good to me. It wasn't. I mean, I think it's almost like they didn't know what they wanted to do. So they said, you know what, Rollins, you need a way to get to WrestleMania. We'll let you try to steal Kevin Owens' chance to interview Stone Cold. And it was almost, again, the whole thing with Raw that I always hear is that most of the shows are put together hours before they go live. And I think that showed last night, right? There's a lot of talk that Cody's still coming in. I don't know what that situation is. And it's being kept very close to the vest, whichever way he's going. You know, there's so much happening right now with WrestleMania right around the corner. It doesn't even feel like WrestleMania is only what now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks away. Not 2 weeks. And then it'll be 2 weeks this weekend. And I mean, what do you have? You have Lesnar, Roman Reigns. You have Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair. You have Charlotte, Rousey, Logan Paul, Miz against the Mysterios. Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. And then last night, for some odd reason, Austin Theory interferes with Finn Balor in the match with Damian Priest, which I'm not sure what they're setting up for there. Austin Theory's already got a match at WrestleMania. And then there's told at the live shows, Seth Rollins was working in a triple threat with Damian Priest and Finn Balor to be the backup. That will be the backup match that probably, if Cody doesn't show up, Seth Rollins will get thrown into the U.S. title mix as well. So it's going to be interesting. AEW's real four pillars should be Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, MJF, and Darby. I like Hangman Page, but he just doesn't do it for me. AEW beats. I think the pillars are Wardlow, MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Darby. I think Powerhouse Hobbs has became, he's making a name for himself, but I don't think he's there yet. He's got glimpses of it. The other night with him and Keith Lee, I think you're seeing a little bit more of him coming out of that shell. But I hope he breaks away from Team Taz. I like him with Team Taz, but I think he needs to be by himself. He needs to be by himself and be a monster, just like Wardlow now. Break him away from MJF. Let him feud a little bit. Let him start becoming that monster, that one-man machine, and just roll with it. The one thing that Tony Khan said is when he first started AEW, he already knew who the four champions were. The first four champions were going to be. Chris Jericho was going to be his first champion. John Moxley is second champion. Kenny Omega is third champion. Adam Page is fourth champion. That was done. That was written. When the TNT title came out, Cody Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky. Took a little bit longer because Cody left, but Scorpio Sky was slated to win it. He's already figured out. He already has a lot. You talk about some long-term booking. The AEW has it. Whether they necessarily know how they're going to get point to point to point to point, maybe not. But again, you remember Omega got hurt for a little bit, and then he came back with the tag team with Page, and Page got hurt for a little bit. So something's got timeline wise, but ultimately, man. And then also one thing I think AEW does well is they have the champions hold on to the belts to make them mean something. There's no transition champions in AEW as of yet. Maybe down the line as they get going, but you've got to build the belt to mean something. You can't just put it on a guy to put it on somebody else the following week. That's what your TNT title's for. If you bring in a TV title, that's what those titles are for. Your heavyweight title needs to mean something. Think about what Roman Reigns has made the Universal title mean something right now. when you look at that. Frankie Fresco at AKW8. I hope Hangman does not hold on to the belt that long, and I don't like him too much as a champ. Um, I don't know. What do you guys have against him? What is it? Is it the personality? Is it the style of wrestling? What don't you like about Hangman Adam Page? I guess is my question. Because I think he's pretty damn good, honestly. Again, they don't showcase him maybe the way they probably should have with that much. They've let him talk a lot more lately, but now with everybody, I mean, what that the AEW right after Revolution, everybody was cutting promos. They didn't have anybody really do a lot of matches. Steve said, Frankie, I always thought it was because it's just too much to fit in one night. It used to go on for 4 or 5 hours. Hard to stay interested for so long. It was so late at night. Oh, I missed Frankie's question. Sean, why are they doing 2 days for WrestleMania? That, in my opinion, is also not a good idea. Money, man. Money. You have to remember a lot of WrestleMania is international. They come over. It's a vacation. They go to what do they have there? The fan fest. It's fan fest at AEW. I forget what they call it at WWE, but they have like the fan fest there. It leads into Hall of Fame. You have now the NXT Stand and Deliver at noon. You've got night 1 of WrestleMania, then you got night 2 of WrestleMania, and then you got Raw. And actually, you've got SmackDown and the Hall of Fame this year as part of it. So what they do is they sell the whole package. You end up getting a ticket to SmackDown, a ticket to the Hall of Fame, ticket to both nights of WrestleMania, and a ticket to Raw. And they throw it all in with the package for hotel and everything else, and they sell it internationally, and they fly in, and it's a vacation, man. It's a vacation. That's why they made it 2 nights. Money. 100% money. That is all it is. It's money. If I can get 1 night of 80,000, why can't I get 2 nights of 80,000? And also, I think it does go with what Steve is saying too, the time frame. Because again, before WWE with Peacock, you have, your streaming rights cut off at a certain time. So as you're getting, one of one of the biggest stories I remember was ECW's first pay-per-view. As they were getting the 3 count, they were counting them down to when it was going dark. Right as the 1, 2, 3, they're at 3, 2, 1, and they end up raising the hand, and as soon as they raise the hand, the feed quit, the feed stopped. It was just that close. And that you're pushing that. And then, again, that's why a lot of times at WrestleMania, people got bumped. There's matches that got bumped every year. 1 or 2 matches usually got bumped at WrestleMania. I think his personality can be way more better. I mean, it does come across a little bit dry. It's weird though, because I thought when he was working with the Dark Order, it was showing more of his personality. But yeah, lately I could see you saying that the personality. Look at that. That is excessive in my opinion. I don't know. I would be burned out Saturday, Sunday, and then Raw plus the Hall of Fame for hardcore wrestlers. That would work, but the casual viewer, I don't know. But again, that's what the fan fest. I mean, the fan fests are ridiculous priced. It's like $185 and you get 4-hour window. You go in for 4 hours and they sell the windows, and then you have to look at the windows of when, they got certain people into certain windows. So you're constantly, and if you want to see 2 different people, you got to pay the $185, or if they make like, it's 185 or 2 for 325, or it's all about the money. It is all about the money. And they make the money on WrestleMania weekends, especially now with the fans coming back in. Hangman is good. I like him, but he has the same problems that Kofi and Big E had. They're just too nice to be champion. He needs an edge. I thought the last feud brought a little bit of an edge out of him with right before Adam Cole. Who was the last pay-per-view with Adam Page? Why am I drawing a blank? But he got bloodied up. Even with Hangman Adam Page, they got bloodied up. You know, it's one of those things where you kind of got to walk the fine line if you're AEW. I mean, AEW can get away with a lot. It is so weird how much they get away with having blood on TV compared to back in the day when WCW was on Turner. Because that was one of the big things that Eric wanted to try to do was more, edgier, hardcore, bloodier stuff, but they couldn't do it because they had the censorship of Turner. And maybe Turner learned from that and was like, okay, we'll do it this way now. When Hangman and Omega were together, Omega, oh, of course, Omega makes all that. But a lot of people have to remember, Hangman used to be, part of the elite. He was on, being the elite. He was always hanging out with the Young Bucks. And then that's one of the things, the angle they're kind of working with Adam Cole. The Young Bucks are like, look, we told you, we're not messing with Page. So then now he's got Red Dragon to be in the 6-man with him. I mean, there's some history there, and they did bring it out at the beginning when it was, Hangman, Omega, the Young Bucks, and Cody taking on Inner Circle and some of those, and they brought in Matt Hardy when I forgot who it was got hurt. Actually, I think it was Cody got hurt, and they brought Matt Hardy in to team up with the Bucks and Page and Omega. So, I mean, there's history there. And again, Tony said the first 4 champions, he already knew who they were going to be. So Page was already slated to be the title. I think they wanted on Jericho and Moxley to kind of build up what the AEW title meant. Then they put it on Omega to get the workload of what the title meant. And now they've handed over to Hangman Adam Page to kind of carry it on. And then ultimately it's going to be dropped to somebody else. I just don't know who that person's going to be right now. Because there's probably at least 3 names I can think of right now that he could probably drop the title to. But again, how quickly do they want to drop? Omega had it for over a year. When you start looking at, I think everybody's had it for at least 6 months. That's made the belt have meaning. That's what this is. Again, you have to make the titles prestigious. The NWA World Title back in the day was very prestigious. Flair traveled territory to territory to territory to territory. Harley Race, territory to territory to territory. Jack Briscoe, territory to territory, to build up what the NWA, the prestige of the NWA World Title. And to this day, now Nick Aldis built it back up. It had lost some of that luster, but the NWA World Title is still around this day. Matt Cardona is now the champion, is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So, the more prestigious you make it, it's not just a paperweight. I think sometimes the WWE titles become paperweights. When Big E was champ, he should have turned New Day back heel. I know that's a tough ask because New Day is over his faces, but still, and you're right about Hangman. I should give him more of a chance. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say you got to give anybody a chance because everybody has their own way of what they like and their own things there. But when you look, at Big E as champ, man, I mean, I look, he was misused, man. They misused it. It's just WWE does not know how to. They just don't, man. They don't. Their thing is the belt is paperweight, man. To me, you know what? I was so happy when Big E got the title, and then I was just like, I don't think he had it. I think he had it maybe one pay-per-view. It was his first defense, I believe. He lost the title in his first defense. What the hell is that? It's just like that brings the value of your title down. Not only that, but then why do all the buildup to make Big E be this guy to win the title to next month? He's crap. Cardona's, yeah, dude, I love the way he did. He says WWE was my developmental. It's 100%. He took everything he learned there and look at what he's doing with it. WWE can't use him, but he can sure as hell use himself. WWE don't know how to market him, but he sure as hell can market himself. I think the problem with WWE is their storytelling. Everything is so predicting. I mean, look, man, if you've watched wrestling, there's not a lot that you can't kind of look at something happening and go, oh, okay, I see this is ultimately where they're going to probably do the turn. You just see it building up over time. It's like, there's very seldom that as Frankie said right below that, nothing's really surprising anymore. And that's because social media, man. I mean, I go back to the Hardys. I mean, when they showed back up at WrestleMania that year, they had to fly into an airport like 2 cities over and then drive in after WrestleMania started just so they couldn't get seen. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of the things they have to go through, because everybody sits at the airport. Everybody knows, okay, if it's in Dallas, the WWE stars are flying into Dallas. They sit at the airport, they click pictures, they look at the hotels where the wrestlers are staying. They take pictures to see, wait, why is that guy here? Wait a minute, Cody's here. Bray Wyatt's here. And it's just, there's no there, and then it goes on social media, and then I retweet it, and then somebody else retweets it, and next thing you know, 300 people have retweeted, and it's all over. There's no way you can surprise anything anymore. It's very hard. I'm not going to say you can't surprise, because it has happened, but it's more about the presentation when it does happen. Like I thought when they did Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, you brought out Adam Cole and he did the whole thing where he looked like, oh, what's he going to do? And then he kicks him, and then they start pounding on him. And then you bring out Bryan Danielson, like little things like that, because it's going to happen. But the presentation of how you do it can change that a little bit. I don't think it's social media. I think it's just lazy writers. I don't know if it's lazy writers. They're TV writers. That's the problem. They're not wrestlers. They don't know the wrestling business. They're TV writers. They're TV episodic writers. I'm watching Friends right now. Probably the people that wrote there are probably writing for WWE. They don't really. Freddie Prinze Jr. was one of the ones that was a wrestling fan and went to and he would sit down with some of the workers and get their input. That's what I think is missing. I think what's missing is the input. You got some wrestlers that do get the respect to get the input, but most of them are probably just given, hey, this is what you need to say. And you look at it and you're like, wait, my character would never say this. What the hell do you want me to do? And then you sit there looking at it, and then probably 30 minutes later, they bring you another one and say, hey, scratch that last thing. Now you're going to do saying this. You're going to be saying this. Oh, scratch that. Now you're going to be saying this for the whole day. They're changing everything up to the time the bell rings for Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, can it be lazy writers? I just think it's just half of them probably have given up, because wherever they write, it doesn't matter. Vince has final say on everything. If Vince doesn't like it, he's just going to cross it off and write what he wants. Doesn't matter. Half of them guys probably have been turned over 12, 13 times. And half of them are probably just happy to have a job. So had high hopes for Big E. That's why I was so hurt when he lost. Yeah, dude. I was super disappointed in WWE for the fact that you did all that buildup, made him what he was, to sit there and do that to him. And then now, fortunately, it looks like no surgery required for his neck, but it's going to be some time, man. It's going to be some time before we see Big E. And that man deserves better. That man's got a big heart. That man's big man, big heart. But yeah, I mean, as wrestling fans, I don't know that we'll ever be happy no matter what they do. Big E will be champion again eventually. I sure hope so. I'd love to see him back in the ring again. That's what I want right now. Just get him back in the ring. I know, medicines and surgeries, and I know he says he doesn't need surgery, so that's good, but rehab and things like that help out. But neck injuries, man, are never good. Neck and back injuries, never good in wrestling. Because I get, you're bumping, you're hitting your back every time, you're getting the whiplash effect. Yeah, you're tucking your chin and things like that. But man, it's just constant pounding on your neck and your back and your shoulders and your hips. And man, yeah, I want to see it back. I would love to see that. Where I was going with the man, I lost my train of thought when Finn's posted that. Forgot where I was at. Oh, with wrestling fans. I don't know that any of us will ever be satisfied no matter what. It's just like it's just like your sports teams. No matter what they do, you're gonna find something that you're like, man, I wish they would have done that. Oh man, you know what? I wish they would have put the belt on that guy. I wish that guy would have been our quarterback. I wish that guy would have been our offensive lineman. It's all about it's the fandom. It's the sports fan in everybody. It's again, it's sports entertainment, but it's the sports fan in everybody. That's why I say like I can't get mad at anybody who they come up to me, no matter who their favorite wrestler is, whether it's a guy, a hardcore guy that if somebody says Hogan, AKW, yeah, CCW this Saturday. Where are they at? I know they just did a show where are they at in Tennessee last night or the other day. I saw Gangrel was on the card. I know Music City is doing something. They got a Magic City Wrestling. I'm sorry, Magic City Wrestling, MCW. I think they started a YouTube show, which I'm probably going to go take a look at here in a little bit once I go off the air here. Where are they at this Saturday? Are they in Miami or Florida? Where are they at? How was Bobby's recovery going? That I don't know. I can probably reach out to somebody and find out. And you're speaking to Bobby Lashley, right? They're in Pompano. Okay. Okay. Frankie Fres, you're saying Bobby Lashley, right? Is that the recovery you're speaking about? Hello, Sean, wrestling fans. Good evening. Getting a small break before dinner's ready so I can write a bit. Good show again. Thanks, Jaime. I appreciate it, my friend. Dinner's ready. Where are you? I guess you're on the West Coast, Jaime. Where are you at, Jaime? Yeah, I know he had some shoulder issues and they wrote it off as a concussion type thing, but I think he got his shoulder cleaned out. So I would probably say he'd be back before Mania, but at the same time, I'm San Jose. Okay, good deal, good deal. So you're going to watch the Panthers tonight? But he had to get his shoulders cleaned out and everything, and just again, man, it's wear and tear on your body. I mean, these guys, you work out, you drive to town, you work out, you drive to town, you work out, you sleep, you drive to town, you work out, you drive. I mean, it's just constant. I mean, with COVID, I think everybody got a little bit more of a break because there really wasn't as much travel, and you only went to there at Tampa and Orlando. So I think some people got a little bit of a rest for that time. That's probably good. But ultimately, I mean, hell, look when they did Saudi Arabia. I mean, you flew to Saudi Arabia, you did the show on Thursday. The one crew was back for SmackDown on Friday. The Raw crew wrestled Saturday and Sunday and then did Raw Monday. So, I mean, all that's a 15-hour flight too on top of that. So, it's a lot of travel and wear and tear on these guys. And yeah, they're not sitting in, coach or anything like that. They're flying on some, chartered planes and things like that. But still, man, take the bumps and the bruises and altitudes and everything else. Oh, got to take care of the kids. Up priorities, buddy. Priorities. Understand that. Got a couple more minutes here. If you want to get in on the chat, make sure you throw it in there on the chat board. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you check us out on the YouTube Big O Radio Show YouTube channel. And you can reach us on at yahoo.com on Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. This is the NXT recap, but we always talk pro wrestling. Take whatever you guys want to send. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Sean_Stanley11. And going to start doing some small clips and posting on social media too when some news breaks. And I hear some news breaking just to talk about a little things here and there. As I said, Raw last night ended up with a 1.7, which overall, I think was a good rating because I didn't think the show was 100% the greatest in the show. I thought they did a great job. The circumstances, man, because again, you know, yesterday, for those that maybe don't know, I don't know if you've under a rock or whatever. Scott Hall passed away. His family took off life support at around, I think it was around noon, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and he battled. He stayed breathing all the way up till the. I had not checked from 7:20 till Raw went on, and then when I went to start Raw on the DVR, I saw that's the first time I saw anything stating officially that he had passed away. And a lot of those guys and gals, man, grew up watching Scott Hall, idolized Scott Hall, and you saw it on Kevin Owens' face when he took the ring, man. It's one of those things, man. It just catches you off guard, and you don't know that emotion, man. That emotion when he said, "Hey, yo," and then you could just see his face was red. He's just trying to keep it together, because he's got to cut that promo. And the emotion, man. A lot of people watching last night's Raw to see if Cody debuted in Jacksonville. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, because Seth Rollins supposedly is going to be the opponent for Cody Rhodes. That is the internal message that's being sent through WWE. It's Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But now they're starting to find other ways for Seth Rollins to be involved in WrestleMania, meaning they threw him in a triple threat match over the weekend to see how it fit with him, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. So again, do you sit there and do you put all your eggs in that Cody Rhodes basket? Are they doing that just to throw people off the trail? Because again, man, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins don't need a lot of buildup. Cody just showing up, Seth Rollins, hey, this is my show. You can throw it together within a week. These two guys don't need, a month of buildup. They could probably do it the Raw right before WrestleMania. I go back to The Undertaker and John Cena. They did that at WrestleMania. John Cena's sitting in the crowd. Oh, I want my answer. The music hits. He comes down and he squashes John Cena. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could do it just like that. All of a sudden, Cody's in the audience. Seth comes out to cut a promo saying he wants to be on, and all of a sudden Cody gets pulled out of the audience right into the ring. You can make that happen like that. The Jerry Springer Show and Razor Ramon was invited. Yeah. Dude, I love the bad guy. 100% fence post. Always. Last week you were talking about how the wrestlers don't see a penny from the Peacock subscriptions or something like that. So is it all up to the wrestling contracts with the associations? I mean, they see the way it used to work was when you had the pay-per-views, you got a percentage of the buys. So as the pay-per-view, everybody purchasing the pay-per-views, you got a percentage of that. Then it hit DVDs, and then you got residuals from that. So now you're making money from being on the pay-per-view. Then you get residuals for every DVD that's sold. When that got sold to Peacock, there's no more DVDs. There's no more pay-per-view buy rates. It went from $49.99 for a pay-per-view to $9.99 a month. That's it. You get everything. You get the library, everything. So there's nothing there for the boys and girls. It's very minimal. Maybe they gave them, I don't know, an extra $10,000 a year, which may sound like a lot, but on top of the grand scheme of things, there was guys that were living off residual checks and not even cashing the contract money that they were getting from WWE at one time. That is like the UFC. It is in a way, yeah, with the gear when they used to be able to sell any of their things, and then once they went to Reebok took all that money. I mean, that's ultimately what has happened. You get your merchandise, which is always good. But before, as long as you busted your ass to get to the pay-per-view, knowing ultimately you're going to get paid off that pay-per-view. And if you get to a WrestleMania, that was one of the best-selling pay-per-views, so you always knew you would constantly get money from that. I mean, there's probably guys to this day still getting residual checks from some of the WrestleManias they were on. So ultimately that's what happened. So, and the contracts are between the perform. Now they get guaranteed money. The way it used to work, and not 100% everybody, because you worked your own contracts out, but you would get an upside. You had an upside of whatever 150. So then you would work your loops every week, and if you didn't make the money for there, they would cover your balance from your upside. So, you know, but ultimately you always made more money than you would have made on your upside until Scott Hall and Kevin Nash changed the game and went to WCW for guaranteed money. And that's when a lot of people started jumping, and then Vince had to change his tune and start giving guaranteed money to keep guys at WWE, which changed the industry and the business as we know it today. But ultimately, what happened was they figured out, hey, we need to have streaming services, and streaming services have kind of taken out some of the avenues for money. So, and then WWE did it long ago with the WWE Network. They did it long before. It wasn't just Peacock. They went to WWE Network, which that was when they kind of solidified everything on there. And then ultimately, I think AEW probably will have to go to a streaming service as well at one point with the ROH library and everything else. Don't know how quickly they will do that or how quickly they need to do that. But then I wonder if they do that, the pay-per-views. When do you think AEW is going to try bigger venues for their events? Here very soon, Frankie. I know they are doing the Forum in Los Angeles, so that is bigger than they're normally. So they're gonna up it. They're gonna ramp it up here soon. I just think they need to try to figure out how to get more TV time. I mean, the main event on AEW Dark tonight was the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler against Evil Uno, Angels, and I think it was 10. So you got the Young Bucks on YouTube. Not sure how, again, they're getting some money, I'm sure, from YouTube and everything else like that, but is it worth having the Young Bucks on YouTube when you can have them on TV? Yeah, I don't know how you want to look at that. Was the Orlando pay-per-view sold out? I was under the impression it was. Yes, corporations are always trying to take more and more from the athletes and entertainers. Messed up. No, 100%. They're going to find a way around everything. Again, it's always one or the other, right? You finally get a chance to be like, okay, we're getting guaranteed contracts, and like, okay, we'll give you guaranteed money, but now that guaranteed money, you're not going to get this residual check anymore, or anything else. So when you ultimately think, yeah, it's going pretty good, then all of a sudden it's like, well, here's your guarantee, but now you're not going to get much else other than merchandise. And now the games have become a big moneymaker for a lot of these guys. And then they bring the legends back in. On this new one, I think you can play celebrities. They're going to have Ronda Rousey, Logan Paul, and some of the other ones. So they'll be making some money off of the game, which might help push it out to more people, which will be some more money for some other people there, the residual checks. And Frankie Fresco, you're right. It is happy birthday, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I love the post his mom sent out today. And I don't even know if it's his mom. I don't know. But she put out what happened to the little boy that was so innocent and pure, you jackass, basically. And it was like, happy birthday, Max. It was like, it is great, man. It is great. He has turned into probably one of the best heels going right now, bar none. Roman is kind of in between because, look, Roman is turning into, and I'm not going to say that he's at the Stone Cold level yet, but he's at the part where they're cheering him, whether they like him or they hate him. That's why I say he's on that, getting to that Stone Cold level to where it doesn't matter. It's like Brock Lesnar. It doesn't matter if he's a good guy or a bad guy. As soon as his music hits, the people are going to go freaking nuts. They're going to cheer and just in awe. Whereas Max, as soon as his music hits, people are booing. They're screaming, they're chanting. And that, again, when you look at pro wrestling is about getting people emotionally involved. If you can get somebody emotionally involved, whether it's they hate your guts, they love you, they whatever, when you can make that happen, you've got them in the palm of your hand. Think back to WrestleMania. Go back with me a ways here. The Rock and Hogan, right? It was mentioned that, the old Hulk Hogan might be coming back, the red and yellow Hogan, right? Before they even locked up in the ring, what was the first thing they did? They went eye to eye. And then one put their head one way and the other put their head the other way. And there was Hogan chants and Rocky chants. Then they looked at each other and they did the exact opposite. And they looked at each other and they did it one more time. They had to crowd into the frenzy. And then Hogan went in, he did his, and Rock fired up, and the place went nuts. Because once you have that damn investment by the people, by the fans, by whatever, once you have them emotionally involved, they're eating out of the palm of your hand. That is one thing that, forever, I will remember when Dusty used to say, one of the things that he said was, you can wrestle 100 miles an hour, but if you can't talk the people into the building, you're wrestling in front of nobody. Doesn't matter how fast you wrestle, because ain't nobody coming to watch your ass. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but the whole thing was that you have to have that total package. You have to get the people invested in you. Whether you're wrestling in front of 10 people, 100 people, 20,000 people, you've got to have them understand and get emotionally involved in your character, or else they're going to sit on their goddamn hands and not care. If they don't care, and that is one of the problems with WWE right now. How many characters do you really care about? Who do you care about? Roman, Brock, KO, Seth, Becky, Charlotte, Ronda. Everybody's getting pushed, right? And everybody's like, oh, they always give the belt to the same guys, because that's the only damn people that people are invested in. Why am I going to give a belt to somebody that people just don't give two shits about? It's not good business. It's really not. That's why I thought the Big E run would be a lot longer, because the people were invested in him. Kofi Kingston, the people were invested in him. But then it becomes a money decision, a business decision. You're bringing back, all these guys. Roman was out for a while, and things happen. AKW Beat says Roman is on a whole other level. No, he is, but also that's what he's done, though. That's him and Heyman, and even Lesnar to a point, because what he has, done to build this up. I mean, he laid him out at MSG, stood over him with both belts and said, "Acknowledge me, Brock." I mean, Brock gets it. It's about business. It's the whole thing with Edge. I heard somebody just say here, what do you think of Edge new entrance? I love it. It's different. Why are you coming out to the same damn music as the babyface Edge? Makes no sense. This is the dark, demented Edge. This is the Edge is going to do anything. I love that Beth Phoenix, when Edge came out last night, what is she tweeting out? She's like, I don't know this Adam. That's adding more to the story, man. AJ Styles says you can get a new haircut, you can get new music, but I'm still going to. It's adding to the whole thing. Not that I don't even think this story needs all this, but it's adding another element on top of two damn great performers that can go out there and put on a hell of a show and a hell of a match. And now you're putting a little bit more behind it. How can you not get invested into that match? And to that point, a little bit more, Charlotte and Ronda lost me last night, because now after that cluster fudge at the end of the show, what the hell was that? At the end of SmackDown, I'm sorry, not last night, SmackDown. at the end of SmackDown where they're beating each other up on a car and people are pulling them off and they're hitting them and pushing them back. I was like, what the hell is this? You've totally lost me. It was so much better when, Charlotte got in the ring. It was like, oh, you're a one-trick pony, and she bam locked her in an ankle lock, right? Bam. You've said the story where now she's not a one-trick pony. Leave it at that. Leave it at that. Don't let them touch again. Let Charlotte lay her out. But that happened on SmackDown the other night. Lost me for that group. Lost me for that match. Maybe you can do something to get me back, but not right now, man. Not right now. All right. Want to thank everybody. Frankie, AKW Beats, Finn's Post. See who else is in here. Jaime, of course. Everybody, thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody being in here. If I miss somebody, AKW Beats. If I didn't say already, there you go. Steve Chapman. Always, you guys, man. You guys are great. The other thing I know I talked about at the beginning, but one of the things I think that WWE is doing very poor job at is the NXT. If that's your developmental, quit putting the damn main stars down there and making them your heavyweight champions, your show guys, and everything else. If you're going to put them down there, then leave them down there. If you're going to not, then do something. Show your developmental guys the respect to allow them to develop and not just keep putting main roster guys down there because you say it's developmental, but really it's about eyes because you're a publicly traded company. So you have to have ratings or your TV group is going to drop you, and you can't go to your stockholders and tell them, hey, our TV deal is not going to be renewed because NXT sucks. Can't do that. So now you've done that by saying, okay, Mandy Rose, go be the champion of the women's champion. Dolph Ziggler dropped down. They're going to be pulling Braun Breaker off. NXT, not sure what the hell is going to go there, but we will see. But to say it's a developmental and you don't want it to be a brand, but yet you show, and again, it goes back to before. They said they want it to be a brand and they didn't do shit for it. Nothing, no marketing, no nothing. And now you say it's developmental, and now you're trying to market it like it's a damn brand. WWE, get your crap together. And the words of the great Gordon Solie, so long from the Sunshine State.